All right, we're about to get to the bike stop. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that we can even get in. Because I want to sit down and eat lunch and smoke a cigar. Oh my goodness, look at this. Oh my. So we're leaving the Frio River bike stop. What a cruel twist of fate. Well, not exactly cruel. But here I am, I've been trying to escape my Harley past for all these years, and we ride into a Harley rally. And, but it was interesting. But it's a whole different culture than what I'm in now. We're heading back to San Antonio. We're going to ride through Bandera, Texas. That's where this rally is headquartered. All these people are riding out to the famous Twisted Sisters. So here we are going back on that road again. Caution, next 12 miles, 16 people killed. It's interesting how we can change. I was part of that Harley culture for a number of years. My first Harley was in 1976. The Harley that I just retired, I have 100,000 miles on it. And I was deeply into that Harley culture for a long time. I was never a biker club guy with the colors on my jacket and all that, but I used to really love hanging out with the Harley people and the rallies and all that stuff. And now it just seems foreign to me. Many years ago, I was on a road trip with a couple of friends. One of them, a guy in Chicago that I really admired. He's a very mature, grown-up person. He rode a Gold Wing. And we were up around Mount Rushmore, and we had stopped at a service station to get lunch. And we were sitting inside, they had some tables. And a guy walks in, he said, are those your motorcycles parked out front? And we said, yeah. There was some guy just backed into one of them and knocked it over. And of course we all jumped up and ran out there. And it turned out it was Jim's bike. There's a gold wing lying on its side. The guy who backed into it fortunately stayed around, he didn't leave. And I watched Jim talk to him. And I was so impressed with how respectful he was, how calm he was. No arguments, no blame. It was just something that had happened. We picked the motorcycle up, and yeah, the beautiful gold wing was scratched a little bit, had a couple of dents in it, but we could still run. And so later, after it was all over, I asked him, I said, Jim, how were you able to maintain such a calm demeanor and be so respectful to this guy who hits your motorcycle? And he said something that was really interesting to me. He said, well, unlike you Harley guys, I am not my motorcycle. And I've thought about that little comment for a number of years because Harley people really do identify with their bikes. I mean, it becomes part of their persona. Their motorcycle is who they are. And their personalities do sometimes are just like the bikes. The bikes are big. Most Harley riders are big, and most of them are overweight. They're loud. Harley riders are just loud. They're just loud, sort of aggressive people. And their dress, everything communicates an arrogance or an aggressiveness. And so I don't know exactly when it happened, but I reached a point where I did cease to identify with my bike. My bike was not me. I was not that kind of person. And I think the one thing that pushed me over the edge was when I was in a little small town, quiet, peaceful, enjoying the quiet. And a group of Harley riders rode through town, and they did what they always do. They just accelerated through the town and blasted through that silence, and you could hear them for a mile or so down the road, still just blaring away. And my first reaction was annoyance. And then I realized, oh my God, that's me. I did that for a number of years. I don't want to be like that anymore. So I don't understand that identification with a machine. And it's the same with cars. I mean, there's the Ford, Chevy debate. Some people get pretty hot about it. I just don't really understand it. It's a machine. And I like my Yamaha FJR because it's a beautiful machine and it's a well-engineered machine, and I like the way it handles and rides. But I don't know, I suppose in some ways it is indicative of my personality. I tend to be quieter and I think more refined. But it's an interesting psychological phenomenon. I think if I ever work on a PhD, which I won't because I'm just too old for that, but I might want to do my research, my thesis on the psychology of motorcycles. I've been to Sturgis twice, and that's a cultural phenomenon that everybody should see at least once. Reminds me of a National Geographic mating rituals of chimpanzees or African natives. People all dressed up in their Harley garb, and they're all strutting around and being loud and arrogant and sometimes abusive and confrontational, and if not overtly confrontational, they wear stuff on their clothes that are confrontational. Like I saw one guy over here just a little while ago. He had a nicely done an American flag sewn on the back of his jacket, and underneath it he had also sewn into his jacket, "Try burning this one, asshole." Well, I get the sentiment. A patriotic person who's offended by people burning the flag. But I don't understand the need to wear that on your clothes. I don't understand the need to wear that in-your-face confrontational statement to broadcast to the world. It's kind of a bumper sticker mentality that I've never been able to understand that either. It's another thing I'd like to do research on, the psychology of bumper stickers. Why do some people feel the need to broadcast their personal beliefs, their political philosophy, their attitude toward life on the bumpers of their car? There's got to be some psychology behind that I don't particularly understand. Unless it's just saying, I want people to know who I am. I want people to know what I believe and what my values are. But I wonder about stuff like that. Like my motovlog says, stuff I think about while I'm riding. So that's what I'm thinking about at this moment as I go back through the Twisted Sisters. It's a nice little road. So maybe I should shut up